Good morning everybody and welcome to our sunrise safari. It is a beautiful start to the day. Is that not one of the most magical sunrises we've had in a while, with dead trees silhouetted against that beautiful orange ball of fire in the backdrop of some clouds? It really is a wonderful way to wake up. Now, my name is Tristan and on camera today I have got Sebastian, and we are coming to you from South Africa, live and interactive, which means hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can get hold of us in the YouTube chat. Now, I'm not talking too much because we've got alarm calls for some nyala and some bushbuck very close to the camp. They've been shouting all morning, so I'm hoping that there's something here at Galago Pan. I'm just quickly trying to get around as fast as possible to see if there is something there. Now, for those of you wondering if Mara will be joining us, they will hopefully be a little bit later. At the moment they're having some internet issues, so I think it'll be probably at least the first hour or so will be with me by myself, and then they should hopefully join a little bit later. But here's some nyala here that I'm not sure if it was them that was barking. It sounded much closer to the camp. It sounded like right next to where we park our cars. So if there's nothing here, then I'm going to have to go back around again, because there's no way to cross between the two. This nyala looks very, very relaxed, so maybe it hasn't seen any threats yet. It might have heard the others, but hasn't seen anything yet. Now let's see, I think whatever it is must be at the pan, but there's been alarm calls the whole night, and I believe a lot of you saw some Birmingham males on the dam cam last night, and they certainly did make a racket last night. They were roaring, and there was 3 of them in total, so 2 together at the dam, and then a third one that came from the north, Buffelshoek side, on this western side of Djuma, and we could hear him responding to those 2. So there was 3 of them calling at one point. Whether they're all together now is anyone's guess, but I wonder if they're not something sitting here. Maybe it's them that's here. I have a feeling it's a sneaky leopard, but it could be obviously a lion as well. Nothing at the pan itself. Checking very carefully, but whatever it is, it was something here that was... I just want to turn off for 2 seconds and listen. I haven't heard those alarm calls again since we first heard them at the garages. But let's go and check. There's a very thick, very difficult path that we can follow through here, and that might give us an indication of where things are. There is a bit of water in Galago Pan again, so that's good news. I just want to quickly check around the waterhole itself, see if there's any tracks of anything drinking recently, because maybe a leopard came to drink and then moved off again. No tracks there. Nothing that I can see. Here's the pathway that I was talking about that we're going to try and follow and check around for any sign of what's causing this disturbance. It is very dense and very thick. Now I'm trying to work out exactly where the garages are in relation to where I am, so it should be that they are in front somewhere. Sorry Seb, I know it's very thick in here. So I believe a lot of you are excited about a prospect of any sort of predator to kick things off in the morning after our epic sighting yesterday afternoon. I haven't forgotten about those 2, and I will get into what we're going to do about trying to find the 2 boys that had a little boxing match and a little spar at each other and a little kind of disagreement, but I will talk about that just now. I just want to try and concentrate and get through this thicket, because it's not an easy place to negotiate at all. Said we're not going to fit through here easily. Let's try and go back a bit. It's not exactly friendly in here for a vehicle. It's even in our small little wheelbases like this, we have a tough time to actually negotiate this area nicely. I'm just going to create a path of my own then, if there isn't one. There we go. And hopefully this will lead us to what we are looking for. Okay, so it should be somewhere in front here is where the alarm calls were emanating from. It sounded like between Candace's house and the tent area, around that sort of section. Now I apologize for all the clattering and off-roading and moving through the bush, but there really isn't any other way that I can try and find these leopards. Okay, so there's Candace's house, and it sounded like somewhere right here. So this is where I would suggest it was, or think it was, put it that way, not maybe suggest, but think. I'm looking for tracks as well on this path. I don't see any. Maybe this individual is down in the drainage line itself. Nothing on that termite mound, no. And this is a place that is so easy for a leopard to hide in somewhere like this. It's thick, it's dense, it's a perfect spot for somebody to slink away and to just melt into the bush. So we know that Shongile spends time here, Thandi, Hosana, Thamba, they've all walked around in this area, so it's difficult to say who it could be, but I would imagine somewhere here, say, because here's Candace's house and there's our garages, and it sounded like it was coming from this direction. Exciting times though. It's always nice when you wake up and there's alarm calls around you and you can hear what's going on, and it kind of gets you very excitable for the morning's safari, because you know that there's a chance that you might find something close by. So this is where I thought it was coming from, Seb.
Yeah, I agree.
I wanted to check the pan first in case whatever it was moving towards the pan, but maybe it was moving away from the pan into this area, in which case it will be moving towards quarantine. So a few loops around here and we might get lucky. Got to scan the bush so carefully in situations like this, because like I say, a leopard can hide in 2 seconds in a place like this. It's not easy to see them at all. Poor Wendy. So Jake, you say nothing like this to start the morning. Well, it is, it's a bit adrenaline packed. I suppose we got to get ourselves jolted. Who needs coffee when you've got off-roading and barking nyala? That's what I think. So somewhere here is what we've got to look for. I'm trying to find a pathway that can get me across a little drainage line back towards the tent area, see if there is something there. Maybe it's in this drainage, and the drainage is super difficult to see anything in it. Here we go. This is get us around. Now, let's see. I don't know if I'm going to get through here, but there's the tent over there. This is definitely the area. And I haven't found the other nyala yet. They were shouting from where I am now. It would have been nice to have seen them so I could have gotten a general direction that they were looking. And I haven't come across any tracks. I've been checking the pathways as we were going. No, nothing that I can see there. Something in this drainage section. Let's just turn off again and listen. You can see what we're dealing with though. On the left hand side is where I think they were alarm calling, so somewhere in that thicket, but it is super dense, and there's a very steep gully that runs here. It's not easy to get anywhere near that particular gully and to get into it, so it's really quite tough. So I was just hoping that maybe another alarm call would happen and we'd be able to see something here. You can hear some squirrels alarm calling as well. I wonder if I can get through here. Just need to also just let Tax and Aubrey know what I'm doing before they see me in the bush and think that I'm hiding a sighting from them. Just waiting for them to carry on talking. Now, can I get down here, Seb? I don't know if I can. Maybe. Yeah. I'm just trying to see if there's a way through here. I think I could actually have gone there. Maybe let's go this. No, that's not going to work. Let's try this side. Tax. Yeah, Tax, I'm just busy in the block between Mike's house and Gallagher Pan. Y'all have been going crazy here all morning, but so far no luck. I don't know if you want to just check the Pan side again. So we just spoke to Tax. Like I said, I don't want them to see me in the bush here and think that I'm busy hiding a sighting from them. So I'd rather they know that this is what I'm doing, and what I'm trying to achieve is to try and get... Oh, sorry, Seb. Just hold on. We'll get through. No. Now I've just got to try and straighten out a little bit so that I can actually get... Still not. There we go. There we go. It's a little rocking game at the moment just to get ourselves through here. And there we go. We've managed. Holly, you say Wendy is sobbing internally. Yes, shame. Poor Wendy and Rusty. Well, they've each gotten a turn to get slightly abused in the last few weeks. I've had poor Rusty the other day when we followed Tingana, and that was not light on a vehicle at all. So Rusty bore the brunt of it earlier in the week, and now Wendy's turn to get a little bit of a beating, unfortunately. So my problem is also, this is where Candace and Mike used to stay, who are the managers of Djuma, so this is their place, and the Nyala were calling from somewhere here, but if I can't get into that, wherever it is, I think it's inside that drainage, so it's just a matter of maybe trying to get in there. I don't know. I think maybe let's try one more loop around and see if we get any sign of something. Maybe it'll come out. Now Seb is saying hello to Megan, that's our final control, and our little disc that sends the signal to everything. Disc, satellite dish. I don't know why I said disc. That's a bit odd. But anyway, there's James's tent in front of me. So I'm sure James, who's on leave, if he was around, there's his tent. Look, it's all still standing, James. We haven't destroyed it. We've done quite well to keep it going. It's all tidy as well. We went in there and cleaned it a few weeks ago. So, and I believe a lot of you are wondering how many spiders are in James's tent. Well, probably hundreds at this stage. I don't even want to, I shudder to think, let's put it that way, as to just how many are inside there, but there are a few, I can tell you that much. When I went inside there last, there were a few webs spun all over the place. There was still the spiders underneath the chair, so not much has changed. We thought we can't really get rid of the spiders because we know James loves the spiders under the chair, and it's all part of his thing, so we want to make him feel at home when he gets back to South Africa, and when he makes his way finally back into his tent. We don't want it to feel like a foreign place with no spiders in it, so that's why we've left them there and tried to not kill any of them. Right, we're going to have to drop our aerial, otherwise we're going to have a bit of a problem as we negotiate this particular tree, and it's the only way out of here at this stage. Seb, I don't know. Right, I think let's do one more loop around and just check for any signs. I definitely haven't seen any tracks coming out of that general vicinity, so maybe, just maybe, whatever it is still inside there. The Nyala have gone quiet. We've turned off twice and can't hear them, and the rate that they were calling at was quite quick, so if they were still seeing it, they would have been shouting at me from the top of, well, not at me, but at that predator, and we would have been able to hear them. So There we go. Let's try and change direction because Tax has picked up tracks for a male leopard crossing towards Gowrie Dam. So I think it must be the same individual that we were trying to follow. Maybe he's going to pop out at the dam wall. So let's quickly just go and check. If anybody's watching the dam cam, if you see any signs of a leopard crossing in that area, give me a shout, because I think it must be somewhere in that general vicinity. Also, it would be nice to get out of low range so I don't have to drive in 5th gear to go at 2 k's an hour. Lauren, Illinois, you're asking, do we have to take driving lessons to become a guide? Do we need a driver's license to be a guide? I don't know. No, I'm joking. I just have fun and drive around and hope for the best. So we don't need driving lessons per se. Obviously you've got to have a driver's license, and then from there I have done a few courses with Land Rover. They came out and showed us a little bit of how things get done with their vehicles, so it's not a prerequisite to be a guide, but it certainly helps. And like I say, I've done a few sort of driving courses and advanced 4x4 ones to be able to get these cars into places that we do get them into. Alright, now where are you? I wonder if it's Tingana or Mvula. Maybe it's Mvula, because Mvula was coming in this general direction yesterday morning, and then in the afternoon the guys said to me that the tracks crossed north, but I would imagine this would be him. It's a direct line from where he was, but it'd be strange if he's at Gowrie Dam. He generally doesn't come this side. He normally stays on that side towards Gallagher shortcuts, that area. I haven't seen him down at Gowrie Dam for quite some time, but you never know. With all the leopard chaos that we've been having over the last little bit, anything is possible these days. I'm sure we will find some big male lion tracks here as well. So there's Tax. He's busy checking this side with us, and he picked up the track saying they're coming from room 5 towards the dam. Where to from here is the next question. I think. I'm just trying to work out where, if it isn't Tax, if that's Aubrey, where he's going to head, because that's going to dictate where we go. He's still on the dam wall with us, so I wonder if it's not worth just going into the drainage line in front of the rooms and seeing if we don't find this male leopard walking around in that general section. But definitely something is causing a massive stir around the camp. The alarm calls were going for a long time this morning. In fact, the entire time that I was around doing the vehicles, so it was over 45 minutes that we heard alarm calls happening, and it was in all around sort of Gallagher, Vuurtela camp. So I'm not sure where he went from there, but the tracks apparently come towards the dam, which would indicate that this leopard should be somewhere around here. So far, you say you hope we find an uninjured leopard at Gowrie Dam. Yes, that would be first prize. We don't want an injured individual at Gowrie Dam. I'm sure, though, the last night, the two of them, there's the tracks for the Birmingham boys coming here last night. You can actually see there amongst the footprints of the Impalas is where the Birminghams came to drink at the dam. So there you go. There is a Birmingham boy footprint. So for those of you that saw them at the dam cam, there's their little tracks that indicate they came this way. So I wonder where they went, because there's no tracks going up towards the access, so they must have gone north towards Mvubu side or somewhere in that general direction. Maybe it's them that's causing all of this ruckus that's going on at the moment. It could be. They might just be walking in one of those thickets. We know that they sometimes do that, and maybe we just have to check around a little bit more carefully as to what's going on. But nothing at the dam for sure. Unfortunately, I've got Aubrey in front of me, so I don't know quite how I'm going to do this to get around, because he's busy looking for things, and these guests are taking photos of the lodge and doing their thing, which is absolutely fine. Ah, there's a raptor there. That's why they've stopped. Well done, Seb. What raptor is it? Let's have a look. Looks very brown and dark from here, so difficult to say. Head tucked in, Wahlberg's eagle. So that was quite easy. That wasn't very difficult. You can see its little crest that it's got. It's almost like a mohawk that runs on the top. So Wahlberg's eagle, long rectangular tail, that yellow sear. The head is just tucked down, and that's why it looks a little bit different, is because of the way the head is tucked at the moment. Maybe a little bit on the chilly side, although it is quite warm already. So the Wahlberg's eagle is just tucked up. And we saw the pale Wahlberg's eagle in yesterday here at the dam. So this is the dark formed partner, I think, of said Wahlberg's eagle, of the pale one. So I wonder if the pale one's not sitting somewhere in this general vicinity as well. Be nice to see both of them again. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, because there's a pair, I think it's this pair, that nests on Wahlberg's Road, which is why it's always called that, and vultures have taken over that nest. So there is vultures in the nest, and they've just bred, so there are chicks, and these Wahlberg's eagles won't be able to go to that nest. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to build a new one, or if there's going to be some sort of a squabble over that nest. I would imagine the Wahlberg's eagles won't squabble with vultures, just given that they're so much smaller and less bulky than what the vultures are. Dina, this is the third one that we've seen now. So we saw a dark formed in the Mulawati the other day, then we saw the pale form yesterday morning, I think it was. Was it yesterday morning? Yes, yesterday morning. And then this guy again now. This could very well be the same dark formed one we saw in the Mulawati. It's not that far, especially for a bird of prey to fly. But it's the third sighting, should we say, of Wahlberg's eagles that we've had in the summer. So it's exactly how it's going to be now. As soon as we see one, pretty much every drive we should start seeing them again, as they flock back in numbers to this area. And it's always like that with migratory birds. You wait and wait and wait and wait and wait, and when one arrives, then 400 of them arrive shortly afterwards. There we go. Surveying the territories and surveying the dam, and I wonder where our leopard is. Wahlberg's eagle maybe can tell us, or our lions, where they've gone. So Aubrey's gone off now, and I'm going to see where he goes. If he's going to check a little bit towards Gallagher Pan, then I might just go slightly north of him, check the old hyena den, and then go towards Gallagher Pan that way. But I'm sure this predator is still here somewhere. When we heard those alarm calls, those Nyala were very upset with life, so they were alarm calling 5 minutes before we started drive. So whatever it is, it's not far away from where we are. Hold on, Seb, a little bumpy up here. Although this is very gentle in comparison to what I put you through already this morning, and what Wendy through. Good old Wendy. Shame. These cars do take a bit of a pounding, and between Brentley Smith and myself, we have done some serious bushwhacking with them, and I always feel a bit sorry sometimes when I do them, but then again, it's good when we're following animals, and they, I think, love it just as much as we do. Maybe I'm going to tell myself that, so that I sleep better at night and don't worry too much about it. Just listening to Aubrey. Sorry, Aubrey, what was that update? So it's just tracks for male lions that are coming down Mvubu Road to the south. So it sounds like these male lions, I think maybe these male lions are causing the stir, because there's tracks coming towards the dams, coming here, but nothing coming out on Gallagher shortcut, nothing in this particular, on the access or the road that goes up to Quarantine. So they must be somewhere in this general vicinity. So maybe it's them that's causing a bit of a shakedown around the camp at the moment. I know last night they certainly caused a lack of sleep amongst everybody. There was shouting going on all night long, and it's not the worst sound in the world by any stretch of the imagination. It is really good to hear. There comes the Nyala out that way. So I see Tax is off his vehicle, busy walking around and checking. These Nyala, I'm sure, are the ones that some of the ones that were barking earlier. They're just disappearing off to my right-hand side at the moment. And you can see they're kind of looking around. They might be watching where Tax and Fanuti are busy tracking, because they're on foot trying to look around and see if they can find anything. But there goes the Nyala, little baby in front, and this little one was also very new, born a few probably weeks ago. And off they go into the thicket, as Nyalas often do. But they are beautiful animals, aren't they? You see very fluffy tails, even the little one. Keep up with mum. Don't want to be left behind if there's tracks for male lions and females and leopards and all kinds of other predators. Seb, I don't know. Maybe it's worth checking back towards Galago Pan again, in case said animal has headed in that direction. Don't know quite how we're going to negotiate this little section though. It's got a little roadblock obstacle in the form of a vehicle, but I think I can get round on the right hand side here. If not on the right, then on the left is not a problem. So we're going to try and just mosey on along past everybody. Morning guys, how you all doing? Good? No, not yet. We've just following up on alarm calls. We'll see you later. So they're just asking me if I've seen anything. I was just saying no, not yet. So I'm sure we will find whatever we are looking for in this general vicinity. We've just got to put our heads together, and at least this time I've got help with Tax and Aubrey. It should help being able to find what we're trying to look for. White Lady Un, you're wondering about male Nyalas and whether they get kicked out of the herd. So here's the tracks. This must be the leopard that was seen just now, but it's going towards where Tax is. You're wondering if male Nyala get kicked out of the herd when they become adults and they become mature. Yes, I would imagine that they do. Well, they do. I'm not that I would imagine. They do actually get kicked out, so it's not an imaginary process at all. They do get kicked out, and they have to form in bachelor groups, or they've got to try and establish themselves as a dominant individual. Seb, I don't know if you can see where that robin is calling. It's going to be quite tough for you, but in this fallen over tree, there's a little tail that's bouncing around. There it is. So you can see the back end. Looks like a white-browed scrub robin. There we go. It's just a beautiful call though from behind the tree. Very, very pretty. Morning robin song. So apparently the tracks for this leopard go southwest, which is exactly where we were following up. Maybe I'm going to head back to where we were just now and just try one more time. But Seb, it must be right there. We must have driven right past this leopard, because Tax says the tracks are going straight to where we heard the Nyala barking earlier. So the power lines area. So maybe let's do that little off-road thicket one more time, and maybe we get lucky. Megan, if you want to maybe have a little look out your window there, maybe there's a leopard walking past FC as we talk about this, but I'm going to try and go past this area. Nothing yet, Megan. Oh, come on, Megs. I'm sure it's there somewhere. You've just got to look. Of course, it's not that easy. If it was that simple, it would be, well, we'd all be able to do it. But he's in the drainage line, that's why we can't see. So we might have driven, like I say, right past this individual, but being down in the riverbed system, it's so difficult to be able to see anything and to try and find any sign of it while we're up on the top here. If we could stick very close to the edge of the bank, I'm sure we would spot this individual, but being up where we are now is making life a little bit tricky. What's interesting though is this leopard's done a full loop, so it's gone from the sort of heading towards Vuyatela camp, then turning and coming back this way, and I wonder if maybe the lion tracks or the scent of lion is what's pushed it to come in this direction. Come on, Wendy. Basil, you say if the leopard commotion went on, would the lions be attracted to it? Most definitely. If alarm calls carried on, you'd find the lions would definitely come and investigate. They know often that there is, when alarm calls happen, that leopards might have had success with a kill and they can run in and try and steal it. Also, on top of that, they also want to know which predator is in their vicinity and which predator is, because it could be another male lion that they need to come and sort out. So they definitely will come and investigate and try and see what's going on. This is to me where it must be, Seb. This is where the nyalas were alarm calling, because I can see Mike and Candace's house right here. Maybe we've got to try and get closer towards. So Seb is asking me from the tracks if I think it's a big male or one of the youngsters. Seb. So actually should be Seb from the back of my vehicle, that is. Seb, I didn't see them long enough, but it looked like one of the smaller males. It didn't look like a big adult male. So it could be one of the young boys. Difficult to say though. It was such a fleeting glimpse as we were trying to get around tax there. But I'm not 100% sure. But this is where I think it is here in this very steep, very thick, horrible section. And I think this individual is tucked himself away inside here. Right, now let's just do a little scan. I might actually get my binoculars out for this and we'll try and see between all of the thickets if we can find anything. If you want to scan with your camera maybe, Seb, if you pick up any movement or... I wonder if maybe this leopard's sitting in Candace's house. Maybe it's on the couch, chilling, having a morning cup of coffee, watching us try and look for it in the bush. Meanwhile, it's just sitting there. It's not the first time I would have seen a leopard on a couch. I've seen it happen quite a few times. And Singita, the Ravenscourt female, used to do it often. She used to be sitting on the decks of the guests, and she used to drink out of the pool and lie on the couch, and her cubs would lie on the couches. And I've seen it with Salehesh and Tiani, and they seem to really like doing it. Nothing that I can see this side. Let's go around a little bit further. Where are you, leopard? Come on. Need our kitty kibble this morning to try and find these leopards. Here might be a good spot where I can see down into the drainage. So Roshni, you say I have to reveal how many. That's exactly what I was hoping wasn't going to happen. But how many bags of lucky beans I have with me, and because we've been having such great leopard sightings recently, and well, Roshni, I've just none actually, but I've just been getting lucky, to be honest. Like I say, it's not in any way been just, me only. It's been the help of a lot of the other guides and rangers, and we've all kind of worked together, and it's just been a lucky period. We've had a really kind of good time, and it's this time of the year that sightings generally do pick up a little bit. So it's dry, it's, the animals congregate around water, so it makes it a lot easier for us to find things. So I've just been lucky in that regard, and Seb has been a big help with spotting of things, and it just, like I say, it goes that way. It's not really in any way been just me. It's a number of people that have helped together. Seb, this is where I thought it would be, but you can see if you look down here just how steep it is inside there and why we can't see much. So if this leopard's walking inside this little thicket, to actually find this leopard is almost impossible. It's if it stays down there, it's going to be tough. If it comes out, obviously much easier, but if it's inside there, I think we're going to really struggle. But let's try and find another way through. Just remember that branch on the way back, Seb, that almost decapitated me. Is that big stump on my left alright? We're good? So I know there's a stump here somewhere, but I wanted to check down in here in case this leopard was sleeping right here. No. Right, now Tax is just calling me. Go ahead, Tax. Okay, so Tax is saying he's got tracks heading straight towards me. Yeah, Tax, this is where the Nyala were barking. I'm just trying to look inside this drainage, but as you know, it's difficult to see anything inside here. Okay, I'll check a little bit further south. Maybe this leopard's gone towards quarantine side. So there's Tax behind me saying that he's got the tracks heading further this way, so I'm going to try and get ahead of Tax quite a long way and see if I can get to an area where we can try and find this leopard and Tax can carry on the footprints at least. But this is where the tracks are coming, so we must have been somewhere close, Seb. Somehow we must have just missed him. Maybe he went more towards Gallagher's shortcut as we turned, because this is where we turned in this general direction. But the good news is that it sounds like the Mara internet is back up and running, which is fantastic news. It means that hopefully we will have the Mara joining us at some point as well, which will be nice. It's always good when we have both shows together. It seems to be the lucky combination is when we have Mara together with Djuma. That's when things seem to go crazy, because last night was just ridiculous. And I watched a bit of footage of Jamie's serval, and well, it's a bit of a loss for words with that serval. That serval doesn't even look as though it's ever had to worry about a vehicle in its entire life. It's just super chilled. Now, I think Tax is calling me. Go ahead, Tax. So Tax says I need to just stand by here. Maybe he's seen this leopard. Seb, can you see something?
I saw Tax, but Tax is behind us now. He's coming to you.
Ah, so Tax is going to come this side to me. Maybe he's seen something and wants to talk to us. So he's going to come and have a little thing. Hello, Tax. How are you for?
I just want to call this thing the radio. Just go on the fire break there. This Nkuhuma with that other Mafazi.
Okay.
And Mampimpan there.
Oh, okay.
So
Sure. Thanks so much, Tax. I'll see you later then. Sure. So Tax has just given us a very juicy piece of information, which I'm not going to spoil for all of you. I'm going to just keep it to myself for now, and then I'm going to show you guys just now as to what he's managed to find. But maybe, just maybe, you guys are going to be super excited by this. I am very excited already. So, like I say, we just have to be a bit patient, because we're going to have to head in that direction. It's going to take us probably, I would say, about 10 minutes to get that side. You alright there, Seb? Of course, now that we've got something else to go to, we'll probably bump into this leopard. Now, earlier I was alluding to the fact that we had this ridiculous sighting yesterday of two male leopards having a little tiff with one another. Well, not really a tiff, it was a weird situation. They were just having a checking out of one another, and they were really kind of getting into a situation where they were kind of growling a little bit and following one another around, and it was the most amazing thing to witness. And it's the two young boys of Djuma. So let's quickly jump over and have a little catch clip of them from last night. He's not getting scared of Hosana's movements, which I thought he might. It's really weird. I would have thought that Thamba would have been a lot more circumspect. Both these leopards are young, so they don't want to attract too much attention in case the other one is a lot more a lot bigger or more dominant. So it's more a situation that they're actually just kind of sizing one another up. So there we go, look. Thamba is just watching now. So I know what you're going to do. No growling. I would have thought there would have been a little bit of chuffing at least. And Thamba's coming closer. Is he sniffing? This is craziness. Hosana's chuffing. So Hosana's chuffing. He's not sure. Thamba's being far more bold. Look at this. This is ridiculous. A little growl from Hosana. Look how close they are. How amazing is this? This is ridiculous. There we go. Hosana's now displaying and saying, no, that's close enough now. You stop there. No, that is absolutely ridiculous. I don't believe it. No, this is absolutely amazing. This is craziness. I can't actually believe this. There is a little bit of growling going on. You can see they are salivating. Thamba into a more submissive pattern. Very unique. This is not something we're going to see every day, and certainly something that is not common at all. Two young male leopards squaring off, and this might be the first time that these two have actually squared off like this. This is crazy. Both of them are drooling quite heavily, so there is definitely a lot of drooling taking place, that's for sure. So it's an interesting sighting in that neither one is really being too aggressive, but neither one is being too submissive either. So the drooling is part of the fact that they're not happy with one another. There goes Thamba. He's going to try and sort of get out of there. Absolutely phenomenal, and not something we're going to witness every single day. So we're going to keep up with them for a while longer and just see what happens. Look at how Thamba's rolling. He's trying to display to Hosana, not a threat, leave me alone, don't fight with me. And this is how he does it. That's craziness, guys. Look at this. For those of you who thought that even these young males would be playful with one another, you can see is a bit of aggression, but absolutely ridiculous. Wasn't that the most incredible sighting? We were so fortunate last night, and I know a lot of you were wondering if I stayed longer, and I tried to kind of keep up with them. I did. I tried to stay as long as I could and see how it all unfolded. And unfortunately, they crossed the Mulawati and they headed in an easterly direction between and Mamba, and that area there, even during daylight, is seriously difficult to negotiate. I've lost, I don't even know how many leopards in those thickets trying to follow them, and we just lost them quickly. It didn't take long for Thamba to disappear and then Hosana jogging after him. But it looked like Hosana kind of had lost which way Thamba had gone, because he was going back and forth, pacing around, sniffing, and he was battling to kind of find where exactly Thamba had gone. So I think Thamba must have gotten off. They didn't come to blows in any way. There was no physical contact the entire time that I was there. So it was good news in that regard. It was nice that we didn't have to worry about them in any way hurting one another. I think it was more just a curiosity thing, and I know a lot of you say that he's already had an encounter with Hosana. Thamba and Hosana have already come across one another, but generally, and as far as I know, nobody has seen just the two of them. It's always been with Thandi there, and Thandi would always be a buffer for Thamba and would subdue Hosana a little bit. You must remember now, Hosana doesn't have that female in the middle of them, and Thamba doesn't have the protection of mom. So there was a slightly different aspect to that sighting, and who knows, maybe they're still walking around together. This track that we see here, Tax said to me it's a young male, so it could be for either one of the boys. I mean, we know that they both spend a lot of time this side of the world, so it could be either one, but they're there somewhere. Whichever individual it is in that drainage. And I just can't get to where it is. There we go. So somebody has just told me now that leopard is inside Gallego camp. So one of the guys that works for Vuyatela, he says he's just found that leopard, but it's in the camp. There's no way to get a vehicle to it. So there we go. That's why we couldn't find it, is that individual is in the camp itself. So it must be Hosana or Thamba. Both of them have grown up in camps. Both of them are used to moving around in those areas. So unfortunately, we'll wait until the leopard comes out. We'll just keep an ear out, and once it does, we can then head in that direction and see what's going on. But I'm still heading towards, I promised you a surprise, so I'm heading towards it slowly. OD Farming, you wanted to know why they were drooling so much last night. It's a response to an increase in adrenaline. They start to salivate like that. It's almost like when you get nervous and your palms get sweaty. It's the same kind of thing when it comes to leopards. When they see one another, they start to drool and they start to get quite upset about life, and they go after one another, and they kind of start to really heavily salivate. And you'll see the same thing with lions when they come across one another. Male lions, if it's different coalitions, they also start to salivate. So it's a very similar thing to our response. An increase in adrenaline causes us to start sweating, causes us to start getting a little bit more hyped up, and it's the exact same thing with the cats, is that this increase in emotion causes them to start salivating a lot more. And that's why they were doing it, is because they're now nervous, as well as they pumped up because they've now met a leopard that they don't really know very well, and they know that there's a bit of competition and that they're solitary cats, and so they are nervous of being caught out by these individuals, or this individual. So, you know, Hosana, when he first saw Thamba, wouldn't have known who it was. Thamba wouldn't have known who Hosana was, and that's why they actually sniffed around. If you look, Hosana went after Thamba moved from a certain spot. Hosana went into that area and started sniffing to try and work out what was going on. Just slowly coming up the hill. Ah, look at that. There's the whole Nkuhuma Pride. There they all are. You see, and there's, oh, the tiny babies are here. The tiny cubs are here as well. Look at how cute they are. That's so cool. There's the Nkuhuma Pride, and the tiny cubs are just in the back. Look how little they are. They're so small. Hey guys. So this is the first time that we've seen them with the pride. How cool is this? That's so special. Look at them, they're still a little bit kind of, what's going on? So little fluffy, and you realize how little they are in comparison to the rest of the pride. Look at the rest of them. There's the sub-adults. So those little cubs, it's hard to think that those sub-adults a year ago were the same size as those little cubs. Oh, so cool, man. That's so magical. Hey guys. So the little ones are a little kind of wary. Well, two of them. One doesn't care at all. One is sitting watching us. But two of them are a little bit more on the wary side, just checking out what's going on. But how cute are those little cubs? Hey, little one. Rebecca, you say they are so tiny, and look how fluffy they are too. They are so cute. Lion cubs are one of the cutest things out here. They tend to be kind of full of fur, and they've got these sweet little faces, and it's hard to think, like I say, that if they're males, they'll end up being these 250 kilogram brutes when they're this small, but hopefully they will. And isn't it amazing that they're still doing fine? We were talking yesterday that the female was still producing milk. Oh, look at that face. Is that not sweet? This is just so cool. Roshni, you're relieved that all three are safe. Well, like I say, yesterday when we saw that female and she was still producing milk and still had the suckle marks, we knew that these cubs must still be alive. But obviously you never know how many cubs. So the fact that all three are here is a very special thing. And the nice thing is that they've moved, it looks like she's moved the den closer towards the camp. This is the drainage line that runs towards Tayla camp. So I wonder if this is where they've now moved the little ones. And these little ones, you see the two off exploring on the right there, Sev. They're going down the hill towards the drainage line. Where are you two off to? This is slightly more brave. It looks like a little male in front that's waddling along. It's difficult to see nicely, but it looks like a little male. Here's the front one leading the way, and off they go into the thicket. How cute is that as they dodder along? Too sweet. Paula, you're wondering how old these cubs are. Paula, just judging by their size, they're still little. I would say maybe 6 weeks is what I would give them. So still tiny little things. They are going to still grow quite a bit. So we can start. And yesterday I was actually talking about it. Is that they're starting to get to 6-7 weeks old, and we can start viewing them now from about this time. So now that they also come towards the Pride, it's much better for us. It means that we can actually follow up and try and look for them a lot more. The first 6 weeks we try and avoid the area as much as possible, try and avoid that female. But when they're with the Pride like this, and you can see they're quite relaxed, they're not running for cover or not scared of us in any way. So especially not this one. This one is super chilled, and so it's a good sign. It means that we should start getting more frequent sightings of the Nkuhuma Pride over the next little bit. It's really a wonderful thing to see, and I hope that these little ones will survive. They are so cute, but they are still very small, and like I say, 6 weeks is probably my guess. Maybe even 5 weeks. Maybe 6 weeks. Now that I see them kind of walking around. Yeah, as you're wondering if I'm able to determine their sex yet, it's difficult. You've got to kind of see underneath the tail and see them quite close. So tough to say what this little one is until it turns around and sees the tail. But I'm sure I saw the first one that went down into that drainage looked like a little boy, but I could be wrong. We'll have to just wait and see, and time will tell. As time goes on, we're going to get a better idea of whether or not they are boys or girls, and as we get more sightings and we can see the little back ends and them lying on their backs and maybe with their legs sort of open, we'll be able to decide or see whether they're males or females. Hopefully though there is a couple females in there, because it will just strengthen the Nkuhuma Pride even more. Remember, the Nkuhuma Pride, because they've done so well with these sub-adults, these ones in picture now, there's 5 of those, so in theory we should have a 10-member pride in the next little bit. So the 5 females hopefully will stay with the 5 adults, and we'll end up with a 10 female pride, which is massive, because you can imagine if 10 females have cubs, then you can have a situation where 9 or let's say 8 or 9 of them have an average of 3 cubs. You can work out, do the maths, how quickly that pride becomes over 20. It's an amazing sort of way that things grow. Here comes looks like the younger female. I think she's going to go. Listen. Oh, she's going to pick it up. Look, she's picking it up and she's taking it. Where are you taking your little cub? Look how it tucks its little tail in. How cute is that? That is just too awesome, guys. It is one of those things that I always want to see, is when the mother carries her cub like that. It's just incredible. Now, a lot of you may think that hurts, but it doesn't. The mother is being so gentle. She's just lifting it gently with her mouth and carrying it off into the den side. So she's taking it to an area that she wants to keep them, which is really cool news. I wonder if the other 2 are going to come bounding towards where Mom is, but look where she's going. It's dense, it's thick. That's an area that is great for little little lion cubs. She can try and hide them inside there, and nobody's really going to pick them up from that area. How sweet was that though, that she picked it up? It looks like she's putting it down where she is there in the thicket in the background. It's difficult to see her, but it looks that way. Yes, you're asking what's the maximum distance that a cub will stray from its mother. It looks like the rest of the pride's also going to get up and start moving in that general vicinity. But it depends on the age. When they're young like this, not far. You can see, so that mother woke up when she saw the other 2 disappearing down into the drainage line and then went that way. So she's immediately realized these cubs are getting a little far from me, and it went and fetched them. And that distance is not even 25 meters. And she's decided, nope, I need to go and intervene here and start moving them into a safer place and not out in the open like they were. So she's now taken them deeper into thickets, and you can see one of the other adult lionesses has gone that way. What is interesting is that I can only see 3 adult females, sorry. The rest don't seem to be here. So there's 2 adult females that I can't see at the moment. They might be tucked around the bush somewhere. There's one of the adult females. I don't see the female with the injury at this stage. I'm sure she's around, but I just don't see her at this stage, also here. But how wonderful is this? So special. We have been absolutely spoilt by seeing those little cubs. It is a very unique thing to see. And I can see they just in the thickets. So there's no point looking, but from where I can just see a little bit of light moving through those Thamba thickets, and it looks like she's going deeper south, which is great because that's back towards our area. Now, why have you all lifted your heads? Is there something behind us, Sept?
Whenever they can see,
I wonder if maybe the Birmingham males aren't at Thamba Dam. We're just south of the dam. It could be maybe the Thamba males and, the Birmingham males and some of the Nkuhumas are north of us at the dam. That could be what's happening, and that's why they're looking in that area. So cool. I'm gonna just roll back a little bit because I just want to see if we can get a view up the drainage and also behind us, because there is definitely something that alerted the cubs to behind us, and there is water behind us. So I think maybe, just maybe, the rest of the cubs are around that side. Yeah, I can see some of them up in the thicket as well. Let's just go through down to the drainage line. Maybe we can get a view up the drainage line. Now it sounds like one of the leopards is also at Twin Dam, so one of our two boys is at Twin Dams from yesterday, which is good news as well. So you can see there's a bit of, this is a perfect place for a den site. Here's the lioness with the cubs close here. She's not far. Seb, I'm just going to turn slightly. There, she's picking up another one of the cubs and taking it deeper into the drainage. So there she goes. Look, she's going up the hill with it. Come, you're not going that far away. You need to go back. Don't be naughty. Into the thicket you go. It's difficult to see her, I know, behind all the branches, but she's heading up towards a fallen over log. So I think there might be a hole in that log that she's putting them in. I can hear another one squeaking, and there's a little bit of aggression amongst some of the others up at the top there. So we don't have much of a visual, but Seb, I'm sure she's going to come back for the third cub, so we're just going to wait for a little bit. White Lady Un, you're wondering how often do lions have three cubs at a time? Fairly regularly. It's not that uncommon. The average is generally 4, but you'll see 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. The most I've seen is 7, but it's very kind of random and very sort of spread out. And sometimes, like I say, 3 is what is had. We know that Styx Pride has had 3 a few times, and it's not an uncommon thing at all. Here she comes, Seb, I think she's calling the last one, which is just disappearing into the thicket there. It's so difficult to see. She's carrying one, and 2 of them are following her deeper into the thicket. There we go, running along into the thicket. You got a glimpse of them. I know exactly where we need to head to be able to see them. So, oh, look at their little tracks on the road, Seb. You see in front here, they're tiny. So just on the edge of the road on the right side in the tire track is a little paw print. No, go up a little bit. Up, there it is. Look at how little it is. So just over there, Seb, is where the paw print is. That's a tiny little lion cub paw print. That's so cute, man. Alright, I'm going to try and just move a little bit because we can't see much of the lions now. They've disappeared. That is so sweet. They are minute little things. Cute, man. The lioness is with the cubs. She's taking them deep into the bush now. So I'm not going to follow her in there. At least we know roughly where the den is. I'd rather spend time with the pride and not hassle her and go crashing through thickets in an attempt to kind of follow her, because at the end of the day, I don't want her to stress, and it's her first litter she's had. So I want her to just relax and to find a den site and not to put any pressure on her in any way whatsoever. So I'm going to just leave her be and see if I see her going towards a more open section. We might go around, but I don't want to stress her through a really heavy thicket and try and follow her in denseness like that, because like I say, it could potentially mean that she gets a little on the upset side. Maybe she panics and tries to move her den. So it's all about respect when it comes to these little den sites. Ali, you were wondering if could male lions protect the little cubs or adult male lions? Ali, well, they do. They are protecting these little cubs every single day of their life. It's indirect though. It's not. They're not standing right here and protecting it from a direct threat like a hyena or a leopard or another lion or a snake or something like that. But the fact that they're out every night, they're roaring, they're scent marking, they're territorial, and they're moving around keeping other lions at bay, they are indirectly protecting those cubs. They're making sure that there is a safe environment for the cubs to grow. They're stopping other male lions coming in here, which would most certainly kill those cubs if they could, and that's how they're protecting those cubs, is being territorial, strong adult males. If they were in any way not like that, you'd find transient males would move in and those cubs would most certainly end up being killed. So it's a very indirect way of protecting them, but that's how they do it, is that they are providing a safe place for the Nkuhuma Pride to spend time. Outside of that, things like hyenas, snakes, birds of prey, leopards, those are all things that the lioness and the pride is going to have to look after and make sure that she selects really good den sites and looks after them. But it's not something that unfortunately the males can control. The males don't spend that much time with the pride because they are patrolling the territories and making sure other lions aren't getting in. That could be a danger to their cubs. And you can see, look at the sub-adults walking, how much bigger they are than those tiny cubs. Like I say, you'd think it's strange to wonder that those ones were the same size a year ago. We always think of our Nkuhuma youngsters as cubs, but you can see now that they're no longer in any way, shape or form the same size or can be considered as in same sort of bracket as those other ones. Now they're all grooming each other and turning into that Thamboti thicket. Seb, I'm going to go around. I want to see, I think there's a little gap on the other side. I remember tracking with Herbie in here when we were looking for the Nkuhuma den way back when we had that suckling female and Ali found that small little cub. I remember coming into this area trying to track those lions because there are a number of den sites here, so I know exactly where they could be using, and there is an open clearing that we can cut into without even hitting too many trees. So in fact it's right here, so this is where we're going to just go in a little bit because the rest of the pride is now all shifting and moving with us towards this area. So I just want to go in here. I'm not going to go too far and try and crash too much, but there is a little open clearing here and we might be able to see the rest of the pride as they come through. There's a number of fallen over trees though, and that's where they seem to be heading, is towards these fallen over trees. And it's, like I say, the perfect place for a den site. Here they are, right here actually. I can see the little cubs as well. So there you can see the lioness with her little cubs are going to cross right in front of us. Hey girl, listen to them, you can hear them talking. It's the best sound. How cute is that? These little ones, there she goes. So she's walking, and you'll find the little one's going to come just in front of her now. Look how small it is in comparison. There it goes. Oh, careful. Careful, little one. Here comes another one under the tree as well. So they're slowly but surely coming out. Oh, you guys are cute. Hello, little one. Look at that. How special is this, guys? We are being absolutely spoilt. Here comes Mom. So Mom is on her way now. And she's going to lie hopefully right in front of us, because if she lies where she is now, we are going to get the most beautiful view of these cubs. She's just a little bit right of where that cub is now. She's sitting close to a fallen over tree. And here come the cubs. They're coming bounding to Mom. So they were going to Aunt, and Aunt was a bit upset. She growled at them a little bit, and so now she's coming towards Mom. You can see Mom's still got milk there. They come. Come on, little ones. Do you want to drink milk now? Is that why you're squeaking? How sweet is that? Look how cute these are, man. These careful little ones. Falling over more than we're actually staying on our feet. Look at this. Guys, what a privilege to be in a situation where we can watch 3 tiny little fluff balls filing past us one by one. Look at that. That's epic in every sense of the word. Wow. Beautiful morning light. Jumping over mom. Oh no, guys. How cool is this? There we go. Up onto mom. Mom is now a jungle gym, so mom's going to jump. They're going to jump all over, play around, and look for milk. How sweet. There is something about a little lion cub that is just so good. She sees she doesn't want to suckle. She's not in the mood for suckling. And there she goes. Guys, so special. These must have been absolutely tiny when we first heard about them. That day that I followed the Nkuhumas and then they crossed back with the cubs. Those cubs must have been days old at that stage. Or at least only probably, I would say, a week or two old. Because they're still very little. It's interesting though that she's introduced him to the Pride already at this age. Seb, I'm going to roll forward for you because I've got a nice little gap here. So she's just getting into some shade. I think she was a bit uncomfortable in the sun. So we're just going to roll forward slightly and try and get Seb a nice view. The nice thing is that the Nkuhuma Pride is so used to us that there's no real worry about us and no real sort of frustration with us being here. So there's a nice view of the female. I'm sure the cubs will come towards her. Can you see her there, Seb? Is it alright? Okay. The interesting thing as well is that the sub-adults haven't come close to these cubs yet, or not that I've seen. I would imagine that they have greeted the little cubs and they've kind of looked at them, but it's not like the interaction that we saw when Ali had that little cub where the sub-adults were quite rough with it. And I think it's a very different situation. These two females are lying sort of between the cubs and those sub-adults, and you can see look at how the young... Oh, there it comes. Hello, little one. Oh, trouble, that is 3 of them. The great thing is that they're just heading deep into Djuma, so the chances of us getting these guys for longer or for the next few weeks is so good, and it's just going to get better and better. The more mobile these 3 get, you can see the more brave they get, the more we're going to see of them, and it's going to be a very special time. Here come some of the sub-adults. Let's see if they're going to cause any trouble with the youngsters. It's part of being a young lion. You've got to deal with being bullied by your older siblings, and it's the way things go, unfortunately. It's tough life. But look, you see she's going to get up now because look, she's growling at the sub-adults. Don't come any closer. These are my babies. You stay where you are. You're not welcome to come anywhere near my little ones. Already showing that protective nature, eh? See, look, she's growling a little bit. So she's just saying to those ones, you stay where you are, you don't come and lie too close to my young ones. I'm going to protect them. Maybe she's learnt from what happened with Amber Eyes, or what we think was Amber Eyes' cub. Nope. Little ones can be pesky when you're trying to have a rest and lie down, because they want to suckle, and she's not in the mood for suckling at the moment. They are so sweet. Guys, we are being so spoiled by being able to see them so clearly. This is very special. MKL, you're wondering if the lions get named like the other animals sometimes do. Oh, that little lion cub's got a bit of a bite on her, or a wound on her shoulder. It's not too bad, but that'll be okay. It's just a little small mark that it's got. MKL, no, the lions individually generally don't get too many names. The coalition members, so the big males, they do sometimes because we see them so often on their own, but the prides get a identifying name, so the Nkuhuma Pride or the Styx Pride or that, but the actual females very seldom get a name. They've got lots of blood on them, so I think they fed last night by the looks of things. There's blood on the front legs of some of these lionesses, so they must have got a small meal. I don't think it was big, but it must have been a small meal, and that's maybe why this female came to the cubs, is to actually just suckle them after getting a bit of nutrition. Oh, there they go. That's not your mom. Don't go that way. They're going deeper and deeper into a thicket now. Oh, look at the little one trying to climb on the other side. Oh, up you go. Drainage lines are tough work when you're a little cub. It's not easy to go up and down these banks. Listen to them. They're cute. You can hear Aunt is growling. She doesn't want these little babies anywhere near her. Nikki, you're wondering if this other female is helping out the mother. Well, not so much helping out. She's part of the pride, and there is an instinct to look after them. You will find that lions do allo mother their cubs sometimes, but that female there doesn't have cubs of this age. So it's normally when there's females that have cubs of similar age, they will help allo mother and look after one another's cubs. But in this situation, it's more just that the pride has met these cubs for the first time. The cubs are kind of wide-eyed at that there's a whole bunch of lions here and they want to see and explore and say hello to everybody and meet everybody, and so they just see females and they probably get a little bit confused as to which one is mom, and so that's why they go towards them. You'll see she'll growl at them. There, she's growling now at the cubs. She's saying, I'm not your mother, don't come suckle from me, you must go back to your mom. And mom is here closest to us. You can see that's mom now that we're looking at. The cubs are way in the background, but Seb won't really have a view of them, unfortunately. It's a thicket up above there and it's really difficult. So it's on top side of that branch is where they are at the moment. And here comes another female that's coming in. So this is a third female, which I haven't seen. She's coming from south of us, so I wonder if there's not the rest of them were lying just to the southern side. Here come the cubs, Seb. They're going to come back to this lioness by the looks of things. They're just underneath that archway there. You should start getting a view of them at some point, somewhere in that general vicinity. It's difficult. There's so many branches. So we obviously just sitting tight because I don't want to move too much around. There's lions all around us, and the cubs will bounce around. They'll come towards their mom. There goes mom. She's now walking southwards to where the cubs are. So we're not going to try and sort of stress them out and move too much. We'll just keep where we are, and hopefully we'll get good views of the cubs at some point again. And we've been spoilt already. I mean, we've had the best possible view we could have had when they paraded past us in a small line, and we had them out in the open, so we really can't complain too much about the sighting that we've had. It's been absolutely wonderful. It's been a really special way to spend a morning. I hope all of you have enjoyed it as well. It's not, like I said, there's something special about little cubs, whether it be lion or leopard. They're just the sweetest things. And to see the Nkuhuma Pride's cubs doing well and that they're still happy and healthy, and you know, it's such a dangerous time for cubs when they're so small, because there's so many threats out there. It's not just, you know, the lions that are a threat. There's snakes, there's birds of prey, there's all different types of predators. Even something like a caracal would be a potential threat to these lions cubs, and so when they're left on their own, it's stressful. And so for the first few months, it's always the hardest time. Once they get to about 3 months and they're with the pride, things get a lot easier for all of them, and also for the female herself, because she can keep the cubs with her a lot closer. And you can see the rest of the sub-adults are now arriving as well. So there's a couple of them. So one of the young male, I think the young male is the one in the front here. I'm not 100% sure though. It's difficult now. They're also big and fluffy. Go. Awesome. So special. Very, 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 very cool. Ryan, what you're asking? What age do I think the little cubs will recognize that they're lions? Now already, don't you know that they're the fiercest things alive? They're going to... No, I'm joking. That's difficult to say. I mean, I think once they're actively part of the pride and they watch hunts going on and they actually see what the females get up to and they start moving with the pride, participating in what goes on, that's when it kind of transitions. The sub-adults that we have now, they learned quite quickly that they were lions, because last year during the drought they were already participating in hunts at 4 or 5 months old, whereas this year it will be a little bit different for these guys, but they'll know soon enough. As soon as they start eating meat and they start watching the females hunt, that's when they know for sure that they are lions. As you can see, they're all moving up into the shade onto the other side of this drainage. I'm going to try just get round to one more spot that's quite open and get see if I can get a better view at this stage. Oopsie, there's a branch that just went up. Seb, is that branch quite big there? Can I get past it? Okay. I forgot that we turned in a little bit to get in here. There we go. It should be past. Oh, there we go. Now I'm going to try get round somewhat to where maybe we can get a better view of what's going on and try and negotiate this thicket without killing myself and Seb and Wendy. And while I do that, it sounds like Tayla McCurdy has joined us. The Mara is working, so let's jump across to there so she can say good morning.
Good morning, everybody. A little bit of a late start, but we are here, aren't we? Isn't that cool? Back up and running. A little bit of gremlin issues, but all sorted now. My name is Tayla, and on camera with me today is David, and we are sitting with a herd of buffalo. Now, I saw something quite interesting, but of course this big buffalo bull that is now staring us down is in the way. I saw a hammerkorp, and we'll try and find it again, running amongst the buffalo's feet, trying to catch insects, which I thought was quite interesting. I hadn't seen that before. You obviously see it with a lot of different birds. Now, if you have just woken up and you've just joined us, or perhaps you're already laying in bed waiting to fall asleep to the sounds of our voices, this is live, this is interactive, and if you can muster up the energy, you can chat to us. You can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can send us some questions on the YouTube chat. Now, where did that hammerkorp bird go? I think, David, maybe if I go forward. See hammerkorp birds at pans or on rivers catching fish. They'll catch frogs. I'm sure if there's a little crab around, I wouldn't be surprised if they'd go for a little crab too. But however, this is something that I have not seen before, and this is my absolute favorite thing about Kenya, is I'm experiencing and witnessing these animals doing things that, you know, we don't normally see down in South Africa, which is absolutely fascinating. So it just shows you how incredible the adaptability skills of animals is in the various areas. I think this is so great. Maybe there's too much competition. Down on the Mara River, perhaps there's loads and loads of other hammerkorp birds, and then, well, we know there's yellow-billed storks, we know there's African sacred ibises, there's grey herons, you name it. The amount of birds that fish and go for small invertebrates that live near the water is quite high. So I think this is very clever of the hammerkorp bird. And the buffalo don't seem to be bothered by it. They're quite used to having all types of birds on their bodies. They obviously have the oxpeckers constantly dangling off of them, trying to remove the parasites. And then you see the wattled starlings and the lilac-breasted rollers, and you name it, all the different things sitting on the birds, using them as a bit of a lift. Now, this is a typical thing that we see the buffalo doing all the time, and Angelique was wondering, why do the buffalo always look this grumpy? And the answer to that is yes. Even the little ones have got a very upset and annoyed look on their face with, I don't know if it's just because of life, you know, or perhaps they just don't like us very much, because I've never had a buffalo smile at me, although the one on the left didn't look too unhappy. I reckon that's the excited expression of a buffalo over there. What do you think? Yes, you actually look quite happy. youngster. This is lovely out here this morning. Ravly, you said he's got a beard. Which one? This one. He's got a beard of saliva, if this is the one that you're talking about. You can see all the saliva in its mouth. But that's, of course, very important for, well, mastication, for chewing. There's another little one coming in at the back, just having a little look. They're quite curious about us. They don't seem to be not bothered. Yeah, they don't look angry. They're just watching us. They're grazing. Some of them are ruminating. They probably find that they've just woken up and got a late start. I wonder if we're gonna get any more staring at us. It seems like there's a whole group coming to watch us. Now, MKL, you're wondering if buffalo will headbutt one another during mating time. So I presume to fight over dominance. I'm thinking of my mom now, dominance. My mother's name is Donna. Yes, they do. I haven't seen too many buffalo fights. Actually, I've seen a couple, and I consider them to be quite rare and quite special. And I don't know how many have ever been put on screen before, but it's really quite interesting to watch. Think of it as two cars going at, because they're not quite running at one another full speed, but I reckon that when they're charging speed, they're probably getting to, now I'm busking, I'm just trying to guess. I mean, they can run about 40 kilometers an hour, 45 k's an hour. They're not slow animals, they're actually quite quick. So I would say if they were going to charge at you within a couple of meters, they'll probably reach 20 kilometers an hour quite quickly. So imagine if you had two buffalo charging at that same speed, so it would be the equivalent of a car going at 40 kilometers an hour, and you hear the impact of the boss of the horns, and it's quite extraordinary. It sounds like, not quite like a gunshot. To me, when elephants' tusks clash at a serious fight, that sounds like a gunshot, but it makes it a loud bang, and they're quite nimble. They can turn on the spot, they pivot really, really well, and they bounce around as if they weighed next to nothing. It's quite impressive. So there we go. Add that to your bucket list. It's something really amazing to see. Two buffalo bulls, well, boxing with one another. I'm going to send you across to Jamie, who's also out and about this morning. She told me that she was going to head back towards the area of the serval, or perhaps she said she might try and find herself a cheetah. Let's go see if she's got any of those animals.
I've got high hopes for this morning. A very good morning to all of you, and welcome to the Sunrise Safari, which I know has been going on for a while. My name is Jamie. This morning Manu is on camera with me, and we do apologize. The rain that we had last night obviously brought in the gremlins full force, to the point that I got the one vehicle all ready to go. We were all set up. I got into the driver's seat and it wouldn't start. But we had to steal Brent's car, which meant unfolding all the rain covers. And thus we had quite a frustrating morning, but we're out and about. We had a fantastic afternoon yesterday. For those of you that missed it, we spent 3 hours with a serval, and in fact after the drive ended we spent quite a bit longer with her, until I realized, to my horror, that we were about to get caught in a serious storm. And we did, and we were soaked. And I'm trying to show you the bird that's fluttering about there. Oh, this car's rattly. Here we go. Oh, that's an interesting thing we've got there. Manu? I think we might have a menu on. Or it's just on my monitor. Is it just on my monitor? Is it just on my monitor? That was hilarious. Sorry, that was my fault. It was when I hit reverse. I thought the whole world had gone mad. All I could see was a menu over the bird. Oh no, now I've done it again. Sorry. Oh, this morning's not my morning. You have a look at that, and I will try and get rid of this. Oh, I think I did it. I did it! Success! Well, this is exactly where we had the serval yesterday, and I want to keep moving just because I heard a report that there was a cheetah in this area. Serval, cheetah, either of them would be marvelous. Okay. Well, I'm glad that lots of you enjoyed the serval sighting yesterday afternoon. It really was truly incredible, and I think something that doesn't happen very often. It's certainly the first time I've ever spent that long with with that particular cat. Now, it was a fantastic drive yesterday afternoon, and I'm sure that Tristan has already discussed it in great depth, but let's go back to the leopard man himself, this time with lions.
Indeed, we are with the lions, and it was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful afternoon yesterday, and it was great that Jamie got to spend so much time with the serval. Brent was with the leopard, which I know makes him happy, so everybody got pretty much what they wanted, which was quite nice. Now our lions, we've just repositioned ourselves. We've come onto the other bank now. You can see they're all kind of spread out underneath the quarries. The little cubs are messing around. You can just hear the leaf litter as they're making their way up this side. They're down in the bottom of the drainage at the moment, and slowly but surely they are coming up and towards Mom, so we'll just sit here and be patient, and eventually they will come up this way. They're such cute little things though, and seem to be quite sort of into exploring already. They seem to be bouncing around all over the show at the moment and trying to kind of explore their surroundings. They're a little bit nervous of the sub-adults, and Mom growls a little bit when the sub-adults come close, so it's an interesting sort of way to or dynamic at the moment. I think everybody's just feeling each other out, but there are two lionesses that are not here at the moment, so I don't know where they are. Darlene, you're asking if I've ever seen a lioness protect cubs from being attacked. Well, yes, I have. I've seen lionesses often defending their cubs, even from each other. When sometimes lionesses that don't like other lions around their cubs, they come bounding in and attacking and growling and hissing. So I have seen it a few times, and also from males. So when, let's say, like the Birmingham males were here, this female might be a little bit more aggressive to those Birmingham males and stand her ground and hiss and flatten her ears and swish her tail and try and make as much of a noise as possible. So it's interesting to watch how they react to others, and it's amazing to see the dedication that they'll put themselves and the harm's way that they'll put themselves in to protect cubs. You'll find if it's new males to the area, then they'll fly in there and try and fight with those males as much as possible to keep those cubs safe. And it's even sometimes they sacrifice themselves and injuries to themselves to keep their cubs sort of looked after, which is quite amazing. It just shows you how much the mothers will go. But they're looking great though. Yesterday I didn't get to sort of look at them that well. I was too busy kind of dying of heat to really notice what was going on. So it's nice to actually look at them and see there's no real signs of mange at the moment. So the cubs are down here. This is where they are. Yeah, they're walking around in the thicket. I can see them underneath that quarry. What looks like a quarry down on the bottom there where it's green. They're moving around in that general vicinity. There they are. You can just see a little bit of movement in and around there. Hey little guys, are you exploring? So Mom is just watching and keeping a close eye as they moving around and checking out what's going on down in the bottom there. Anna Marie, you're asking if lionesses can tell which cubs are theirs by their scent. They can straight away. They know exactly which cubs are theirs by scent, by smell, by even eyesight. They will be able to recognize their own kids. It's much like us as people. You know, we get to know our babies and our family and very well, and it's the exact same with this lioness. You can see the two of them just staring. The mom is up and actually standing right here. She's just moving into the center of the pride. So I wonder if the little ones are going to come and join Mom. This sounds like they're just listening to her. There we go. And everybody's settled back down again. Come on, little ones. Come up. Come say hello. I think they're just working out what's going on. They can hear their mom moving around on top. Soraya, no, luckily not. I've never had lion cubs licking and biting tires like the hyena cubs do. They tend to be a little bit more wary of this big, great object. Also, Mom generally will call them when they get too close to a car. When they get to sub-adult age, so like the rest of them here, then they can be a little bit naughty. I remember the Mungane breakaway pride. Oh, look at these two here. They're busy having a little moment. Two of the sub-adults, this one was staring into the other one, and they were sleeping on each other's paws. Hey guys, you can see that it looks like the young male on the right hand side. What's going on? Look at that. Oh. So that's all bonding amongst these guys. Now I was saying that these ones will start getting naughty, and the Mangaian breakaways, they were the ones that started to pull blankets off cars and bite on the shoes of the trackers, so they get a little bit more kind of brave. But the cubs themselves, when they're still that size, are quite nervous of a massive, great hulking vehicle like we've got at the moment. But these guys definitely fed off something, and when they were fed off something, they swatted at each other. You can see this cub that's closest to us, sorry Seb, has got a bite wound on its back as well. So that would have been probably from one another, one on the left. Yeah. So that one's got a little mark on the back there. I mean, that's just a little flesh wound and nothing major, but this is what happens when they fight over carcasses, particularly a small carcass. They must have grabbed something like an impala. You can see there it's itching it a little bit and scratching, but they must have grabbed something like an impala because there's blood on some of the females and some of the sub-adults between their legs. So it must have been a small carcass, given that none of them are actually fully engorged and have big round tummies. So it must have been very small split between all of them. But it seems like that's where the little cubs are going to hide, is in that sheltered thicket down at the bottom there. There's a few tree roots that they can go into, and that's where it seems everything is. Mom is still watching intently. You can see she's looking down into the drainage line. She's making sure her little ones don't get too far, and she's watching what's going on. Hello. Look at these ones here.